Okay, guys, so guess it's not rock and roll, it's jazz and roll or something.
Jazz and roll.
So what we do?
Let's talk about some fretboard stuff. So we both got products out, and maybe we can
Advertise.
advertise and talk a bit about the different similarities.
Alright, good. Well, I'll let you do
Cool. Is it rolling? Rolling. Hey guys, it's Martin Miller here, reporting from Guitcon 2017, and as you can see, I'm sitting down with my dear friend Tom Quayle. Tom, how are you?
Hi, I'm very good, how are you?
Great. A little bit sick, but
Yeah,
you know.
I was going to say you're not that great, are you?
Not that great, I'm just pretending to be great. Cool. So I wanted to take the chance. We sit down a lot. We had a lot of chats so far, but I wanted to take the opportunity to actually record some of this footage. I wanted to talk to you about fretboard visualization. You know, it's a pet peeve of both of ours.
Yep.
I guess we both have instructional products out on the subject, and I wanted to talk a little bit about how you approach it, how I approach it, where the differences are, where the similarities are. I think we're pretty much on the same page, but maybe there's a couple spots where we disagree. Not necessarily disagree, but just handle things.
do it differently. I think part of the difference comes from the fact that I tune in fourths, so my visualization system is extremely symmetrical, and you need slightly less information. If that makes sense. So because I do the interval thing, so I primarily think about intervals. I don't think about box shapes at all.
So when we say intervals, you got to explain this to people maybe.
So intervals, basically what I'm saying is I visualize, as opposed to thinking, let's take a minor pentatonic scale. If I think, I know the formula of that scale, so the formula means basically the intervals that make up that scale. So the formula of that scale would be 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7. Exactly. Okay. Now I've taken all of those individual intervals and I've looked at how they visually represent themselves on the guitar. So for instance, from this A, I know what the flat 3 looks like in every permutation. So it's a small piece of information as opposed to a big piece of information. And then I've done that with all, basically you've got a root note. It feels weird telling you this.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. The way I do it is I have a root note plus 11 intervals, and I know what all of those 11 intervals look like in every permutation.
Okay, so you say this is what a flat 3 looks like.
Or
that is assuming you ascend.
Yeah, but I do the same thing descending. So I have.
Okay, so that is
Every
what
permutation.
you wouldn't think of this as a natural 6.
No. What I'm doing is I'm thinking, again, in a harmonic context, this is 1 and this is the flat 3.
So yeah,
Not
so actually
descending a flat 3.
that's the kind of thing I've been struggling to explain to people, and I think I found the explanation. First of all, I do it very similar to you. I always think about what interval am I playing against what chord, and in my product I describe a thing called interval Mindmaps, where I take any root note on the E, A, and D string, and I group intervals in, let's say, about a 5-fret range around that note, and at any time I know, let's say this is my root note, this is the position that I'm in. I know my ninths are here, I know my 5s are here, I know my minor thirds are here, etc. So I know at any point in time I know what interval is happening against this root note in this area. The thing I struggle to find is to explain the difference to people between intervals and functions.
Yes, that's
so
a really
really,
good point.
so the thing is, if you were to play an A minor and you go from the 5th to the 7th, that to them will look like a minor third, as you just explained. The thing is, you and I think, would assume you don't care about that so much. No. You don't care about the fact that the distance between this note and this note is a minor third. What you care about is that this, in comparison to this, is a 5, and this is a 7th.
Yep, so my visualization system always relies on, it's within 1 octave, always.
Also a difference between you and I. Yes.
So if I'm looking at this A, I'm never visualizing, I'm never visualizing more than an octave above or more than an octave below. So in actual fact, it's sort of 2 octaves, but it's 1 octave depending on whether I'm looking descending or ascending.
If you calculate the octave you go down, you calculate the octave you go up.
So from here, for instance, I don't, I know this is the flat 7, but I never think of, from going from the flat 7 up to the A here, I don't think of that as a major second or a...
Okay.
I never do that. I just think of, this is an A, this is the flat 7.
So this is where we have a difference, because I visualize everything against the bottom strings.
Oh, right.
So I mean,
but this is where my tuning comes in really useful, because that makes sense for standard tuning because the shapes change when you move up to the upper strings in relation to one another. Whereas in this tuning, which you
the pattern repeats.
Don't tune this way. The pattern is exactly the same. So my 1 to flat 3 function flat. The functional. Sorry.
Yeah, I've tried because I want to do my next. I've kind of neglected intervals a little bit on my first instruction. I want to get deeper into it on the second one, but really I should be calling it functions. Because the interval actually measures the distance between two notes, and it could be the distance between the 5th and the 7th note. But what we're really interested in is the fact that we are playing the 5th note and the 7th note.
And actually, this is one of the funny things about teaching, because you end up with the name of something can cause, whilst you understand exactly what you mean, it can cause confusion for somebody else. And you have to be so careful about how you name things.
Yeah, because the thing is, you tell somebody, you know what, a minor third, that's 3 half steps up. Or let's stick to A minor, it's 3 half steps up. But at the same time, if you go down, it's such a huge distance. The same, you tell them, start with the small intervals, work your way up to the bigger intervals, like a flat 7, let's say, and then you tell them to descend.
And it's a tiny interval.
And the distance becomes so small. So that's really where I think I found myself, but whenever I explain this to people, I find myself struggling. And what I really found is to use the distinction between an interval and function.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a byproduct of the fact that your early music theory training, when you talk about intervals, is not the same thing that we're talking about. So I'm glad, actually, it's cool that we've sat down and discussed this now, actually, even though we're doing it for a video, because I never thought of that, actually. That actually, although we are talking about the function, labelling it as such is actually incredibly important for people. Yeah. So I'm going to change the way Martin Miller has changed the way I'm going to refer to
this has just become a recent thing, because when I was thinking about it, the way I tie fretboard visualization in with ear training a lot. And what I use is basically the solfeggio system.
Yep.
The only difference is that I don't name it do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, because it sounds kind of stupid. It's nice to sing, but for me it's detached from the music.
Yeah.
Why would I call this mi when really it's just a major third? Mm-hmm. Major third is so much closer, that terminology is so much closer to what the music is, the 3, in my opinion. But the thing is, the solfeggio system cares about the function. Mm-hmm. It does not care about the interval. It does not care about whether you go from the 3rd to the 5th. That is a minor third distance. We don't care about that.
No, I never even think about that stuff.
Exactly. We only care about the relation to the mother note, root note. So this is really the distinction I've started making in the past few months only, and I've come to realize that I really use the solfeggio system without naming the notes or the functions funny names.
Yeah, interestingly, I've been teaching it this way for a very long time and never thought about that distinction. So I'm going to start changing the way I refer to it. That's interesting.
Yeah, because the terminology, what's really hard about it is that the terminology of the functions and the intervals is the same.
Yes. I've been using it in exactly the same way, and in my brain I know what I'm talking about, but you have to remember that when you speak to a student, they may misunderstand because you're using a term for 2 meanings. Yeah. In their mind, anyway. Or actually, you could use the term in a way that means something completely different to them, and that really confuse them.
Yeah, even if you take something as simple as a triad, there's your major third, and there's a minor third.
Yeah, exactly.
But it doesn't sound like a minor third, the function minor third, because the function minor third against the root note has a completely different meaning than this.
This is it, and this is, the ear training thing again. This is the whole thing of, it's all well and good to sit down and learn how to sing a 5th out of context, but a 5th, let's say for instance, if that 5th was going from the 5th to the 9th. Chord of an A minor 9 chord.
It's a whole different beast.
It's a completely different thing.
And I always trick my students, like if I teach them, I hate this kind of tuitional mindset where you relate emotions to intervals. Like a major third sounds happy and a minor third sounds sad.
Out of any context.
Out of any context. Yeah. Here's how I trick my students. You know what? How does this sound? And they'll go, yeah, that sounds happy. How does this sound? Well, that sounds just as happy, doesn't it? Well, that's a minor third, that's a major third. We don't care about that.
Nope.
The same thing here. How does it sound to you?
It sounds sad, Martin.
It sounds sad. How does this sound to you, Tom? It's Thomas. It sounds sad as well.
Exactly.
Well, that was a major third right there.
Yeah. Context is everything. absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just give me 1 second. I need to check. Where is my phone?
There.
There. What time is it? Okay, I just have to check because I have to be
Yeah,
upstairs.
how much time do I have left?
About 10 minutes.
So, and when you visualize the fretboard, do you see chords? Do you relate against chords? Which is what I do. No.
So I've never ever learnt, I know what it is, but I've never learnt the cage system, and I don't relate. Actually, it's a lie, because you can't not. So if I see like a G major triad, obviously I don't see it as an isolated set of intervals.
That does look like a chord.
No. So I see, for me, in my weird tuning, I see this. I can see each of these inversions, and obviously I can see them as part of the visualization system. So I'm not just isolating the intervals. So I can see the chords, but I don't do that as a conscious, I don't hang my fretboard knowledge onto chords, if you like.
Okay.
They're just part of the system.
Yeah.
And I can see them because I can see the intervals.
Just because what I'm trying to do in my system is I'm trying to tie everything together. I like to tie the shape of a chord to the triad.
Yes.
I'll be going, look at this chord. Here are all your notes of the major triad. You just add this one. And then I extend it. With a major 7, I extend it to the pentatonic. And I extend it to the scale.
So I don't practice that way. I don't practice things in isolation like that in a position. I don't play particularly position based. Actually, if you ask me to do that, I'd have to think quite hard because I don't play that way. So I have a. See, I don't want to describe it as a more free system because that ranks them, hierarchy.
Maybe it's better, who knows?
But I am literally. So if I see the G major triad again, I'm doing everything within an octave.
So you break the whole big shape down into smaller chunks.
Yeah. So my brain deals better with small pieces of information than large because I can manipulate them better.
Yes.
So if I'm looking at this arpeggio, I haven't learnt that as a big diagonal shape, or even in a position.
Actually, in this very case, if I were to play it like this, I would see this as part of the E shape, part of the D shape, part of the C shape.
Oh wow! No, I definitely don't do that.
And like if I were to play a 3-note per string scale, I don't learn them separately, but I would go. Sorry, wait, that was C major. Sorry, let's do the G. I never practiced that shape. What I think of is, I got a little bit of E shape here.
Wow.
And I got a little bit of D shape here, and I just combine like the outer edges of both positions. They overlap. And
So I used to learn, or I learned all my 3-note per string scales as the blocks that fit together. Now, because of the visualization system I use, I again think of every single octave. So I think of this as one octave. And I know all you do as well, I'm telling them, not you. I know all the intervals within that. So I know I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And then I know within this octave, from this G to this G, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And I know. I think about the intervals. And then from this little finger, I can see 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1. Now from this G. Or maybe from this G going this way, and then from this G.
Okay, that's very interesting because let's stick to the key of G. If I were to go, let's say, up the fretboard horizontally, I would relate this note against this 3, 4, and at 5, I would probably switch to the D system.
Yeah, so that is what I'm doing all the time.
5, 6, and then I switch over here.
Yes, exactly.
6, 7, 1. 2, and then I switch over here, 2, 3.
So the only difference would be when you're here,
you switch to this note, and I switch to this note.
Yes, exactly. So it's just the localization of where you're finding those root notes is ever so slightly different. But whereas you're doing that on the horizontal, when you play a horizontal scale, are you also doing it that way when you are playing? Well, actually, when you're playing 3-note per string scales, you wouldn't, because your point of reference remains in one place. Correct?
As I said, we just did the G. Let's maybe do the C. My point of reference, if I start over here, I start on the 5th, 5, 6, 7, 1.
Yeah.
And I play these 2 notes, I'm in my A system. I go up, I'm in my G system.
That's so interesting because when you say
when I play the F,
G system,
I'm in the A system. When I play G, When I'm in the G and the G's, I'm in both
Okay,
systems.
I see.
And when I play,
So you're
and when I
here.
play the A, I'm definitely in the G system.
It's this thing, right? So this is the A
Yes,
system.
exactly. This is the A system. See, this is the G system.
Wow.
So I have I've learned these two shapes,
I don't do any of that. That's really interesting.
and then I just link them together. I play the outer right note, and I link it to the outer left note, if you will.
Okay. And again, I think my tuning allows me to think in much smaller chunks because, again, this is the same.
Yeah, and it doesn't work here because if I were to play that exact same shape, it would turn out to be. I can't even do it.
No.
I don't think about the B string as a different interval anymore. It just becomes so natural. But if I were to do this, I would get Williams scale. So I have to adjust my fingerings, but I don't think of it as adjusting. I just learned that, major third in one octave, major third in the second octave.
Yeah, because your visualization reference point is on the lowest three
Exactly.
strings. So it's just
But I
another
can
shape.
also, at the same time, I also know major third, major third. I just learned it on every string, major third, major third, major third, major third, major third. Same with triads. I learned every combination of closed voice triads on every string. So I have three fingerings for that. That's all the C major triads on the E string, A string, and so on. And you'll find that they look vastly different right now, especially if I go further up the fretboard. But I learn them as separate entities.
No, I've done the same thing. So I have the same as you, but the beauty is that once I've learned that, I've learned it everywhere because
Yeah,
you only learn
that's the
one
beauty
way.
of your system.
Yeah.
The downside of your system is this.
That is the biggest downside of my system.
Yeah.
Actually, although that is quite funny, you do lose huge amounts of guitar repertoire. When I first started, I used to play, I was playing stuff just literally by rote. So I was learning things, I had no idea what I was doing. So I just used to play it. And there you're sort of the ultimate shape-based player because you are literally playing things by eye only. You have no idea what you're playing or why you're playing it. And once you learn what you're doing and you realise that a huge amount of the repertoire that you learn on the guitar can't be played in this tuning, it doesn't matter how weird you get with the fingerings, it's actually the point that you've got the two open strings. There are certain things that you just can't do. You really miss it. It really is, it's a big part of guitar playing.
I definitely see the upside of your system. The thing is, I cannot live without certain things.
Yeah, too right. That's why I was saying, don't do it, because whilst it does speed up the process of learning the guitar, it makes you way less employable if that's what you want to do, if you want to be a top 40 band or whatever.
No, you're doing
or
just
teach.
fine, I think.
Yeah,
but you have a very
for it.
specific career path.
Yes, exactly. You need to be very confident in having your own sound, your own style, and be okay with the fact that that's the only thing you're going to do. And that's not right for everybody. So don't see this as I'm not telling you again, but you guys, don't see this as a shortcut, because although it is, the shortcomings of it they outweigh in many ways the time you will save in terms of learning the fretboard. You have to be very, very much a player who's based in having your own sound, and especially be somebody who's interested in improvisation.
Play your own music.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, it's not going to work for you.
Or improvisation-based, single note-based music.
Single note, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or chordal, non-open string music, let's say.
Yeah, and you lose it's not just the open string thing. You lose, like for instance, a voicing that you can play that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to say.
Every time I grab the damn guitar, I go.
So there's just no way I can play that voicing. I can play this, and I miss out on this, which is the
coolest
killer
note.
note.
It's the killer note, yeah.
Exactly. So there's downsides and upsides, but yeah. I mean, I think essentially our systems are almost the same. But
We just made them sound more different than they really are.
Yeah, exactly. Essentially, they're both based on the function of an interval against a root note visually as well. But in order to, because of the tuning differences between us, we've just developed slightly different systems for cataloguing that stuff, basically. It's as simple as that.
Exactly.
Cool.
Nice.
Okay.
It was a great chat, man.
Yeah.
I shall see you around.
All right, dude. Enjoy Guitcon. Cheers, dude.
Cheers. Bye-bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
See ya. Subscribe. Do a little plug for yourself.
Yeah. So you can go YouTube /TQ105. Don't ask me why. or you can go to tomquayle.co.uk, and I have loads of lessons on there.
Cool. Sweet. Since you're watching this video, you're probably on my channel anyway, but you can go to jamtrackcentral.com, check out my instructional products. You can go to martinmillerguitar.com to check out other stuff. And I shall see you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye. Awesome.
Cool.